Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah, Childhood Finds. Thank you for joining me here today. I am a full-time reseller if you have never joined me here before, and every week I do a weekly What Sold video. And this week will be for July 14th through July 20th. And sales were good. I had over $3,000 in gross sales across all of my platforms. And it's not a lot on the other platforms, though. I had 74 sales on eBay, one on Etsy, two on Facebook Marketplace locally, and one on Depop. And I'm not unhappy with those numbers. If I could just do that every week, that'd be great. But I'm definitely seeing a little bit more of an uptick. I did get 90 new listings up between local Facebook Marketplace and my eBay store. And that totaled out to $2,762. It was not quite my goal of $3,000 in value weekly, but I kind of went with it was close enough this week because I ended up camping this weekend up at Lake Tahoe with my friends for his birthday. So I would have listed more, but instead I was sun fried and I didn't want to after we got back. But I had a lot of fun there with them, and yeah, I have quite a few sales to show you. It's some pretty good ones, some decent ones. And my goal is to get out a research video this week. I'm going to try. With summer, is anybody else like that where they feel like summer is the time where you are just running at full speed and everything is hitting you at once because it feels like there is always something going on, which, I guess is a good thing, but it's busy. It's real busy. So let's go ahead and just get started on the sales. I don't have any real thoughts or questions to answer this week. Maybe next week, if you have any questions, put them in the comments. I'm still making progress on the garage for my storage. So hopefully I'll be able to get some stuff cleaned up and do some shipping videos, some flatware videos, etc. I do have to say, I think I might be coming to the end of the era on flatware. There are other people in my area now that are gunning for it. So I'm just going to keep pivoting. I love flatware and I'm going to try to get it when I can, but I have noticed that a lot more people are getting it. So I am just I'm going to pivot and just enjoy it when I can get it. This is how I've survived as a reseller, is just constantly changing and growing and just living off what I can find, I suppose. So let's get started on some sales. I am officially double my money on all of my yarn that I bought, and I still have some to list and quite a bit listed, of course. And this is CMD Studio Sunset yarn. It was a cotton silk linen blend. And it is important to kind of put how much it weighs and the yardage. They also want to know the weight of the yarn, which is usually on the tag. I sometimes can't fit all that, so I just try to show that in the tag in the pictures. But this sold for 10% off, so right around $27-ish. And I'd say probably most of my lots of yarn, assume I have $2 or less into them because of what I paid and how many lots I'm getting out of them. This is a miniature ancient Greek helmets decor, Macedonia Spartan Athenian souvenir. And this sold for the $15.59. I paid 50 cents for this at an estate sale where I'm good with that. It's small. Nobody else wanted it. That was an easy profit and sold within a week or two of listing, actually, which I was kind of surprised by. This is a donkey mule animal souvenir with saddlebags. This did take a while to sell, and it did finally sell for $20. I'd say this has probably been listed for 8 to 10 months, which kind of surprised me that it took that long to sell. It's cute, it's interesting, but maybe I just priced it a little too high. This is one of those items where you think about all your life choices and I look at this and I think, man, I used to have a career that I was 10 years deep in. I had a college degree, and now I am selling Hooters mouse pads. And they have wrist rests, as you can tell where the wrist would be resting. But this is a Hooters brand official restaurant 3D mouse pad. And I said as is because the backing vinyl was kind of terrible looking. And it sold for a 10% off offer of around $27 as well. Sold very fast, guys. This is Arbonne Aroma Essentials Spray Unwind Rejuvenating Mist. This came out of the buy I got off of Facebook Marketplace. And I'd say I probably have $4 or so into every item listing that is related to it. So not a bad profit. This is a Reno Rodeo 2014 Contestant Cap Hat Adjustable Brown Nevada event. So this is, again, hats that are specific times and events. Can take a while to sell, but I just have a tote full of hats and they sell every once in a while. They're not typically something that are going to make you rich. There's plenty of hats that are very valuable, absolutely, but a lot of them are going to be that bread and butter range of $10 to $20. This one sold for, I believe, right around $15 or so. And I think I got this for $1. These I got in an estate sale for $5, and they're Bates men's size 11D Oxford dress black shoes. And they sold for $30. And I'd say it took maybe a week to sell. This I got from my source, and it's a vintage Chinese cloisonne enamel dragon wide brass bangle bracelet. This piece was very pretty, and it did sell for a best offer of $60, which was a little less than I was hoping to get for it, but I am very much just taking offers. I am trying this week without a sale, but we'll see how that goes, because all through the summer, if I haven't done a sale, then my sales are in the toilet. So, or if I haven't done a discount, my sales can kind of be in the toilet. But I'm going to try without one this week and see how it goes. But this sold for $60. This is an E&J Classic Golden Retriever Dog Plush Prima Realistic 24-inch. This is definitely a brand you want to watch for. It's a good one, the E&J Primas. This one did not sell for near as much as others can because it did have dryer damage. It sold for a best offer of $30. I did brush it out. So I use a My Little Pony brush because I had that big My Little Pony buy, so I had extra brushes. You know, Barbie brushes. There's lots of things you can use to kind of brush these guys out. So I tried to bring it back to life as much as I could. But that's why if you do sell plush, you don't want to put them in the dryer because it can just melt those fibers. And a lot of times I will not pick up items that have any dryer damage, but this one it was mild, and I knew this would probably sell for good money because of the brand still. But other than that, sold for $30, paid about $1 for it. This is Mikasa Virtuoso Glossy Dinner Fork Slot of 7, and it sold for $22.95. I'm hoping I can still continue to find flatware, but I am noticing more people are going for it. So I think it's just something that I'm just going to find sometimes when I get lucky, and that's okay. It was very good to me. I've just had a bit of a dry spell finding it, but I still have a lot listed, and it's something I'm still going to focus on and actively source. And this lot, you know, most times I have $1 or $2 less into most lots. This is a Tiffany & Co. sterling silver Please Return to Heart pendant beaded necklace. And again, you guys know that I do not like this kind of stuff. I don't like Louis Vuitton. I don't like Tiffany. I don't like any of that stuff that can be highly faked because I never want to mislead a buyer because of my ignorance. And let's just be honest, I am quite ignorant when it comes to designer products. But this, I really, really did my best. And I 99.999% believe this is fully authentic. It's just it's a little tiny inkling that maybe not, but it was a beautiful piece and in great condition considering, and it sold for $135 very quickly. So I talk about how much I love selling plush. This is the exception. I hate Squishmallows, guys. Please let me know if you're a plush seller, if Squishmallows are also on your I hate list. There is a lot that popped up on Facebook Marketplace, and I am tempted to buy it, but I don't know if I hate myself enough to buy it because it's a good price for it, but it's hundreds of Squishmallows. And I think I might just go a little batty if I bought all that. And the reason I don't like them, guys, is a lot of them do sell for lower dollar. They're big. And if they have a tag, you're probably going to want to box them. or I have used the method of putting cardboard around the tag, but there's still the chance of that tag popping off, and they take up so much space if you get past the 5-inch ones. The 16-inch and 20-inch ones, those things do not squish down. Those things are so freaking big. I am not a fan of Squishmallows, and I just have not had good luck personally selling them. I think it's because most of them are not worth a ton of money, and they're not worth the money in sense to the space they take up, I believe is what I'm thinking. I have sold some Squishmallows that are valuable and they sell quickly, but most of them just don't fall into that range. And so let me know if Squishmallows are also not something that you love, because they frustrate me. I don't think I'll end up buying the lot, because I think what'll happen is I'll buy that lot and then I'll sit on them forever and I won't have, and my partner said, then all that space is taken up. And you could have that space for better stuff later down the line. So I don't know. This is For Gracious Goods collection, Acanthus Fleur de Lis stainless dinner knives. They sold for a best offer of $23. And yes, I made an error in this listing, and the buyer definitely got a good deal on it because it's 5 and I put 4. This is why I need to slow down in my listing lately, because I've noticed an error or two. Luckily, each time I've had an error, it's been in favor of the buyer. So the buyer just gets a nice surprise, which I would much rather have than the buyer be upset or disappointed in their purchase. So they got 5 instead of 4 dinner knives. This is an 1894 Guard 28th National Encampment Pittsburgh Grand Army Civil War piece, and it is very cool. It sold for $55.15. I got it from my source and probably took a few weeks or so to sell. These I got from my friend that she just didn't want to keep her Funkos anymore taking up space. And so she gave them to me to sell. And this is a Funko Pop, The X-Files, Dana Scully, and Fox Mulder lot of 2. And there was box damage. Always be very clear on your Funkos if there is box damage or they're not perfect. Even when they are almost perfect, I usually say something about them not being perfect, or I put them as used in the description just in case. But you can see the damage in the photos. But otherwise, oh, excuse me. Man, usually I don't yawn in the videos, but I'm going to defend it by I just got off a long walk with my dog. That's how I'm going to justify it. But these did sell for $33.99. This is Marvel Legends series Uncanny X-Men Wolverine figure, and it sold for a best offer of $33. I could have got a little more for this if I'd waited until Christmas time, but I figure let's move the money. It was a cool piece, but $33. This is Expressions from the Heart Swarovski Ornament Blue September Holiday Reed. It had a couple of the little crystals, one had come out and one was loose in this ornament. So I just put that in the description and showed a picture, and it still sold within a day or two for a best offer of $25. So that's why even if stuff isn't perfect, it might be worth selling. This is Department 56 Harvest Yard Fun, the original Snow Village, sold for $32.15. This is a pair of shoes. I've sold quite a few shoes this week. It's definitely something I need to start sourcing more, even though I don't enjoy sourcing them. I need to start watching some more videos to learn what ones to pick up, because I still don't have a great grasp on shoes, and I don't have a great grasp on clothes, but I think I don't know if I'd rather pick up shoes than clothes. Shoes are easier, so probably shoes. But this is Stacy Adams men's genuine snakeskin leather dress shoes. They sold for $30. They took a little while to sell. I probably paid $5 or less for them at an estate sale. They were kind of in a bundle. This is WWE WrestleMania DVD lot of 8. Sold for an offer of 10% off of this, so right around $22-ish, $22.50. And they sold quickly. They're not really worth selling by themselves to me, but I put them together and this is Cannibals and Big Game signed first limited edition Safari Press. I talked about these in a haul video. I got these at an estate sale for about $2, all of these Safari Press ones. This was one of the best ones, and it sold for $137.95. So a very nice sale of that one. This is Lennox Eternal Dessert Sauce Bowl. I'm getting towards the end of all of this Lennox Eternal pattern, and it sold for $59. I'm just showing you one lot of these, but I had 5 of these lots sell to the same buyer for right around $160. It was black and cream yarns that they bought of this style. For some of them had 5 pieces in them, some of them had 6 pieces in them, but they're Annie Blatt honeymoon lot of 6 mohair silk. So definitely the fiber content within your yarn will make it more valuable. That people really like the mohair and silk ones that I've had. This is another pair of shoes. This is Sorel Joan of Arctic wedge boots, size 9. I almost kept these, but they did not fit me. My feet are a little too big, but they sold for $30 and they were practically brand new. That's why I almost kept them, but if they don't fit, they don't fit. And I paid 5 for these at a yard sale. They took some months to sell. It's not totally the season for them, so I just took the offer. This I just picked up at an estate sale and I paid a couple bucks for it. It's The Man Behind the Maps, legendary ski artist. And this is another one of those times where you just have to start learning books, because I just looked this up on a whim because the book, it spoke to me. Well, I know that some of the ski mountaineering, that kind of stuff can be popular, so that's why I looked it up. It was a cool looking book and it sold for $59. And I took the $59 even though it only been listed a little bit, because it was an international sale and I'm very willing to deal when it's international. The next 2 lots went to the same buyer, and this is Penguin Luciole yarn sheet silver, lot of 6, and this lot of Annie Blatt 100% alpaca brushed yarn, and both of those sold together for $42. And I haven't sold postcards in a long time. I have very few listed now, but they are something that I do like. They're not bad. I mean, I made $5 off of this one. I paid like less than a penny for it. And it's a Grand Canyon, Arizona Hanses Trail cliff horseback riding. You just have to be aware that these things take a long time to sell. That's just, most of them just take a long time. This is Estee Lauder Sensuous gift set, and it was my last one of this kind. I think I have 2 more small Estee Lauder sets left, and this one sold for best offer of $109-ish. This is a Builtwell backpack black motorcycle bag, and this I got from my source. It was in beautiful condition, had the tags, had a little bit of dirt marks on it just because of life, and it did sell for $80 full price. I say it took maybe a week to sell. This is Poems of Henry Wadsworth Longfellow antique book. I couldn't find the exact one. That's why you just kind of have to go off of similars, and it sold for a best offer of $25 very quickly. And this is Dr. Scholl's men's size 8.5 loafers, shoes, leather, vintage. And it sold for best offer $25. These have been listed for a couple of years. Yeah, probably a couple of years. And so I just took the offer of $25. I paid 3 at an estate sale. I do highly recommend, if you have shoes sitting for a long time, do check them for dry rot, because even though mine are in temperature controlled, I keep mine inside, there's still a chance they could dry rot while they are in your inventory. So just check them before you send them out. This is ACA Supreme Pure Rabbit Hair Angora, and it was 3 balls. They were green, and it sold for a best offer of $25. This, and the Angora stuff is what really sells. I got quite a bit of this, and because guys, these are so tiny. I mean, 10 grams. This is like nothing. These are like nothing. And it sold for $25 for 3 of them. But Angora is definitely very highly desirable, and I still have some more of that to list, luckily. These I just got in an estate sale for $5, and it's Culver Prado green gold highball vintage drinking glasses tumblers set of 6. Sold for best offer of $50 because they were in California, so right near me, so it was going to be cheap to ship it, and less time for it to break in transit, I suppose. But $50 was just fine. I paid 5. Very pretty glasses. That's the first time I found Culver out there. And they are marked Culver, these ones. This is a cameo style trinket box, and I got this at kind of a yardy estate sale-y thing. I paid $2 for it. It's teeny, nothing super special. Sold for best offer of $19 on Depop, though. This is a local marketplace sale and it sold very quickly. I picked this up at a yard sale for, I mean, it was probably less than $1 or two because it was in a pile. And it's just a Ford metal toolbox. Go Boxes was the brand. And it was a large size. So I could have shipped it and made about $20 to $15 more. But I sold for this for $4 or $40 in a few days. So that was much easier than shipping it. And that was one of those items that a lot of people really wanted on Marketplace. It's interesting to me to see what items are desirable in my area. This is a padded seat Barstool's lot of two. These are just personal that me and my partner had. We got them for free. We'd had them and we haven't been able to use them in our places we've lived the last 5 years. So we finally just said we're going to sell them. And so they sold for $50. And then one final one on Etsy. And this is Dorothy and the Wizard in Oz. Oh yeah, it is Wizard in Oz by Baum, Wizard of Oz, Riley and Lee Co. And it sold for $19.95 on Etsy. And I think I just have a couple more of the Wizard of Oz books left. So everybody, let me know in the comments what your favorite sale personally is this week that you had. And if you're a reseller or your favorite item you found out there, if you're just a thrifter. Other than that, I'll try to get some more videos out. But it just depends what comes my way this week. So everybody, thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you on the next one.